Good morning, Charmaine Watt coming to you live from Regina, Saskatchewan. This morning I started off doing up my notes for my Facebook Live only to find out that I have a technology problem. Just before the 10 o'clock start time here, my computer decided to do a Windows update. So I'm actually going to I do not have any written notes to follow, so I'm just going to try and remember what all I put down on those notes. This past weekend, I spent 2 days at a Mastermind event here in Regina with 15 other wonderful people. And the event was 2 full days and it went by really, really fast. Now, these 15 people, 16 counting myself, we are like-minded people. And what is so great about that is we are not all investing in real estate. Some of these people have their own businesses, and they've owned the businesses anywhere from say 2 years to 15 or more years. So one of the things about that is with the variety of people that are in this group, we get such a great talking going on and discussions that take place. And one of the things we did, we actually went through and tried to determine how many years of experience we have as a group combined. Now, 102.5 years, one of the young guys wanted to make sure we had that 0.5 years in there, and over $180 million in assets between us. Now, that's a lot when you consider there's only 16 of us, but when you have people that are so energetic and focused on building their businesses, you have little offshoots here and a little offshoot there. And so one business may not make a lot of money overall, but as a rule, you have multiple streams of income. So you've always got money coming in, and those little businesses, maybe they only bring in $30,000 or $40,000 a year, and another one brings in $150,000 or $300,000, but it all adds up over time. So great assets there. Now the other thing that I found fascinating was the fact that all these assets are not even in Canada. We range anywhere from Canada to the US to Honduras, and those were just the ones that we thought of that moment. Now, wherever there is an opportunity in business that is profitable, we are interested in pursuing it. So one of the people that's not in our group that we know about, he was actually going down to San Juan, Puerto Rico, I believe it was, to look at an investment opportunity. Then when he gets back, he presents it to us, and then if we're interested, we go ahead and invest in that. So that's another way of diversifying your portfolio. So if one area of the world has a poor economy, another area would still be benefiting from it. Now, we also talked about confidence, because this really was about mindset and things like that. Now, confidence, where do you get your confidence from? Personally, I need sleep, so good sleep is always beneficial to me. Having a non-cluttered, clean environment. Now, some days when you look at my office, you'll go, really, how did it get to that point? The point is that the rest of my home is clean. I may have a pile of paper here and a pile of paper there, but it is organized, and those cluttered items are not laying there for months on end or anything. It's temporary while I'm working on that particular project. Another one is always making sure that you have proper language about yourself. Tell yourself that you look good. Tell yourself that you feel good, and work on always making sure you have that positive attitude about yourself. If you're always saying things, oh, I'm stupid, or I'm ugly, or things like that, that's a negativity in your life. You don't want those things. So always working on proper language. I focus on what I'm good at. So I'm not so good at some things, so I'll try to get someone else to do that work, whether it's my husband or one of my children or somebody else. Loving myself and not worrying about what others think about me. Well, I've been very good at that over the years because I've worked on myself for decades and built myself up. But it was not always that easy. I don't really care what other people think I look like as long as I'm feeling good about myself. We're not all models. We're not all going to have our makeup done every day or our hair. My whole goal is to make sure that I'm always looking neat in appearance and my clothes are clean and things like that. And, I don't look ragged. Now, what destroys my confidence? Being around people that are very negative, that have closed minds, and they just don't believe they can do anything in life, and they always blame somebody else for whatever their problem or their challenge might be that day. It's never anything that they have done personally. So if they never take accountability for their own actions, then they are never going to move ahead in life. One of the other things was When we're looking at getting ahead in life, Wayne Gretzky had once said, skate to where the puck is going, not to where it is at now. Because if you can always look forward to what your goals are, and you keep that in mind, and you keep working towards that goal, you will reach that goal. So that is really huge as well. Personally, we talked about taking steps of faith and really committing to making changes. I'm not sure at what point in life I decided to take that step of faith. I suppose it was always there. I just didn't realize until I've gotten some of this mindset training behind me and some good mentors. At some point in time, though, I realized that one of my work environments, I was not a person that grew up around people that swore or used foul language. And all of a sudden, I got home one night and I realized that I was starting to think and even say some of these words. And I thought, where did that come from? Well, it came from my work environment. So I went and I spoke to my immediate manager about this, because the worker next to me in the cubicle, every word that person said practically was a foul language word. And it had seeped into my mind. So when I spoke to my immediate manager and he spoke to the other person, that language stopped, and I found myself getting better at the way I was thinking again. So it's when you're around and exposed to those things day in and day out, it does creep into your mind. So you have to always be watching for those little things. Now, another thing is, I have over time, I've not always had an easy life. There were times where I'd need groceries, and having 3 small children, well, I shouldn't even just say 3 small children. When you have a family that eats a lot of food like we do, my husband was a tow truck driver, so he'd come home from work, he'd be hungry from being so physically active. The children are growing and being involved in sports, so they would eat a lot, as children do. And I needed a lot of groceries one day, and I thought, I don't have enough money to buy these groceries. However, when I got to the store, everything I needed was on sale, and in fact, I did have the money I needed to buy those groceries. So I've always had faith that things will work out. How they will work out, I never know that, but they have. When I've really needed something, not wanted, but needed something, it has always been provided. So having faith makes a big difference. Having courage in yourself, you will have the biggest breakdown before you have the biggest breakthrough. So even though you might be feeling down, just keep in mind that that worst has just passed over. One of the other ladies in our group that invests in real estate, but she does not go out and purchase real estate. She's an investor. She works in another business, and she has a 24-hour rule, which I thought was fabulous. When you experience success, you should celebrate it for 24 hours. Now, as a group, we thought maybe 24 hours was a little long. We thought maybe 1 or 2 hours, go out and, have a good time for a couple hours or something. But the reality is you should celebrate that success, because it's always there. We talked about having a habit of gratitude. Appreciate the smallest things. Sometimes if it's cold out, like -40, or it's raining, and I go to the store and I think, oh, I don't want to walk out in this weather. Next thing I know, there's a parking spot right close to the door. It's great. Appreciate and utilize the unique abilities that I have available to me now. So just take a moment and write down a list of 10 people and what you appreciate about those people. A number of years ago, I was having a hard time, and I personally do not go to funerals. I will go visit people while they are alive. I cry like a baby when I go to funerals. I just bawl, even if I don't even know the person. Just watching one on TV, I'll be crying. So what I'd like to do is I personally spend the time to go visit people while they are alive. I don't go to funerals. And I sent out a email to my friends and family and asked them what they appreciated about me as a person. And it was really a great exercise for me personally. I had some family and friends that did not respond, and I thought, well, that was interesting. These are people I, thought a lot about and I've spent time with and stuff. And so when I spoke to them later on, I said, oh, did you get my email? And they said, no. Some of them, they don't look at their emails on a regular basis, and other ones they do. So sometimes it's not even that people don't care about you. they just don't use the same sources of information or getting in touch with people that you do. So don't just assume things, talk to people. But it was really enlightening to see what people thought of me as a person and where I had excelled at. So that made me feel really good, and I've kept some of those around. What do I want people to appreciate me for? I never really thought about that. I have always just tried to live a life being a good person, treating people properly, and being helpful whenever I can, and not expecting anything in return. I don't believe a person should be paid for things that they do all the time. I think that as a human being, you should be willing to help others when they need it, no matter what. So there was things like that. And we just talked about other opportunities to invest or things that might be going on and talking about them as a group. We talked about Bitcoins and pay it forward programs, and we talked about apartment buildings that were coming on board and potential development ideas that were out there, and being around people that can give you an idea of where you maybe need to improve something at or tweak it just a little bit to make it a little bit better. It's huge to have that brainstorming and make you feel that much more powerful in what you're doing and moving towards your goal. Another thing for myself, I've always set goals for myself, and it's never been to be better than someone else or to be I guess better than anyone else. That's never been what my goal is. It's always been to be better for me and my family. It's never been a competition to have something more than someone else, the neighbor or a family friend, or it doesn't matter. That's not the goal. My other goal is always to make sure that I have never been a burden to my family or society. I've always wanted to take care of myself and be financially responsible so I could do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. So with that, I think I've been quite successful. I'm also, I won't say I worry a lot about it, but with the cost of taking care of elderly people now, whether it be their accommodations or the medications that are required, then I wanted to make sure I had enough funds there when I got older to make sure that would be in place for myself and my husband too, and things like that. I also like to try and take advantage of opportunities when they arise. This morning I was out for my walk, and it dawned on me that my grandchildren had not gone to the daycare and to school yet. So I phoned my daughter up and I said to her, "Have you left home yet?" She said, "No, we're just getting ready to leave." So I asked if she could drop her oldest son off with me, as it's his 7th birthday today. And so she said sure, they'd do that. So I walked home again, and as I was just a little ways from home, my son-in-law drove by with our grandson, and he dropped him off. So my husband and our grandson and I all went for breakfast this morning. Grandson had no idea that what he had in plan. And then he got to play on the play center stuff, and then I took him to school. And so hopefully he'll have a fabulous day at school with this being his special birthday for him. It's hard to believe he's 7 years old today. But it's great to have the grandchildren so close all the time that we can take advantage of those opportunities. And a lot of the things I do, I don't plan it, 2 weeks in advance or even a month in advance. Sometimes they're spur of the moment. Last summer I had our granddaughter here, and I decided we'd have supper. Actually, it was our grandchildren, my daughter's children. And the oldest grandson said to me, "Are we going to invite Amelia?" And I said, "Well, I haven't planned on it." He says, "I think we should." So I made a phone call to her parents, and I said, "Do you guys want to come over for a barbecue?" I mean, this is 5 minutes worth of planning, and they said sure. So everyone came on over. We had a wonderful time. But I was very proud that my grandson, at the age of 6, wanted to make sure that his cousin was involved in this family get-together, even though it was spur of the moment. And the fact that people can take advantage of that and do that with no expectation of an outcome is wonderful. So I love those opportunities. I hope that we can continue doing that on a go-forward basis. And I think today is going to be a fabulous day. This weekend we've got birthdays coming up. We've got Mother's Day, of course. So I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to everyone that's watching. Thank you for following me on Facebook Live, and have a great day. Remember, live your life by design and not by default. If you'd like to get in touch with me, please contact me at charmaine.watt@sastal.net. Take care and have a great day.